Hey guys, Akil here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. Today we're going to talk about a very common problem, not just in regular life, but of course in your trading life as well. And that's going to be procrastination. Now today's podcast comes from a recording from a video series we have on YouTube called The Trader Coffee Break. This is where Jason Greystone and myself get together and just have a little bit of water cooler talk about what's happening in the markets. If you want to catch it live and be part of the discussion, join in every Wednesday at 10 o'clock a.m. New York, 3 p.m. UK. Just YouTube search The Trader Coffee Break on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and you won't miss the next time we go live.
Well, welcome to another week of the Trader Coffee Break. I'm Jason Greystone.
I'm Akil Stokes.
And this week we got a good topic to discuss. I think it's one of the best topics we've discussed in terms of newer traders, people who are getting into trading, and that is procrastination. So before we get into it, this was a topic that was suggested by Akil last week, actually. Akil, was there a reason specifically that you suggested this topic?
Not personally, but you know, we talk to traders on all different platforms all the time. And you know, we always ask you guys to comment and leave questions and give ideas. And we had a trader that reached out. He said, man, we really need to talk about procrastination. It is something that he is dealing with in his trading. As far as just like, not even trading, but getting into trading and just doing what needs to be done. And, you know, we talked about it and we're like, yeah, it's probably something that each and every one of us goes through, probably one of the biggest things that everyone goes through. So I think in one form or another, we all are or have procrastinated.
Yeah.
So we just thought it would be a great topic that could be helpful for anyone, whether it's trading related, business related, life related, you know, you name it.
I agree. And the reason it's such a good topic for me is because over the last probably year and a half, I've been doing these kind of wealth strategy sessions with people. And whenever I ask what they want to achieve and where they want to be in life and what their ideal situation looks like, they come up with all these great ideas and we get a bit specific about that. And then when I ask them, what is stopping you getting there? Or in other words, why haven't you got it now already? It's always, and this is 100% of the time over the last year and a half, the biggest answer that comes up is some form of procrastination. Wherever they say, I find myself looking on TikTok, or I find myself distracted by this or that, or, you know, I can never get motivated to do the thing, and I find myself doing this instead, and all these kind of things. It's all procrastination. It is all avoiding what that you think you should be doing. Okay. And I say should because that's kind of that's going to go into one of the reasons that I believe a lot of people procrastinate. But ultimately it ends up with you just becoming a little bit resentful, doesn't it? When you're trying to keep doing it, you end up hating the thing. Like eventually you're going to be like, oh God, that bloody thing again. Right. And I don't know about you, Akil, but there's been times in my life where I have procrastinated over something and I ended up just thinking, oh God, why was I doing that? Why was I bothering spending the time doing it in the first place? Is that something you've done?
Yeah, a lot of the time it's, you know, sometimes I don't even end up doing it because it's such a bitter taste that like it becomes something that I want to do, something that I should do, and it ends up being something that I have to do. And I think back to like in school where we had to write papers or do like homework, and like no one wants to do that stuff. At least I didn't want to do that stuff. And the more I pushed it back, you know, it's just like it became a chore. I resented it, like you said. And then if you end up doing it, you don't do it to a quality level. You just do it to kind of check it off instead of doing it the way you should be. So it's like, it's a downward spiral. It really is. It
is. And I think it's fair to say with trading in particular, because that's what this coffee break is. With trading in particular, a lot of people go into trading because it's what they're looking up to on social media. It's a lot of it is to do with a fantasy or an infatuation with some kind of lifestyle or some kind of achievement that is portrayed across social media. So immediately you think, I want a piece of that. And then you go in and start pulling the covers away and lifting the bonnet on what that actually entails. And you start thinking, oh, that's a bit more hard work than I thought it was, and then you start saying, I should be doing some back testing. I should be going to learn that trading thing. I should be doing. And whenever you find yourself using the word should, it's usually because you don't really want to do it. Like, I should pay my taxes. I should be paying my taxes. Oh, I should go and clean the car. You don't want to clean the car. You don't want to pay the taxes. So by telling yourself you should be doing it, you're actually going to beat yourself up a little bit and become a little bit depressed, because the thing you're telling yourself you should be doing based on some result or some lifestyle that someone else has got, you don't actually want to do. You're not intrinsically motivated to do it in the first place. And therefore, don't do it. Like that is my advice. Don't do it. Put your energy and effort into something that you are going to love and not need motivation doing. When the day goes really quickly and time goes really quickly and you never run out of energy doing it, and you can earn much more money doing that than you will doing something that you can't do. Now, the guys watching this, have you ever experienced procrastination? And a lot of people watching this, you might say, oh, well, I do want to be a trader, so I'm going to type no. Look, if you guys are here or if you guys are in the trading community spending any amount of considerable time developing, and you're watching this show every week and you're in our live rooms, and you're not in that category. You're in the category where you might experience procrastination just purely because of overwhelm. I don't know about you, Akil. Have you experienced overwhelm? I've definitely experienced overwhelm.
All the time. This is something that I've worked very hard on the last, really the better part of the last 7 years, but really 5 years. It hit really when I had children, because, I was the type of guy that, I'm really motivated, especially when it come to trading, self-development. So like, I have no problem working like all the time, because generally it's stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
When you have kids, if you guys that have kids, this, right? It is, half your time is probably taken away. It's a whole different story. And the question then becomes, how can I fit the same amount of stuff into a shorter period of time? And I used to get overwhelmed a lot. And I used to have so much stuff that I wanted to do, that I had to do. And I'm trying to figure out, what do I do first? And I'm ordering it and this and that. And then I end up kind of pushing stuff to the background. I'll do this later at another time when I have time. And, I become less productive. So, the last few years I've worked really, really hard on just kind of developing different strategies and tactics to stopping myself from becoming overwhelmed, to, being more productive, being more organized, even building in kind of not procrastination, but the things that I would use to procrastinate, building that into my schedule. Therefore, I kind of get that fix, and I don't need to chase it and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's really important to do that, because otherwise you end up with overwhelm. And what overwhelm is a massive cause for procrastination. And overwhelm's purely not having everything broken out and manageable. So, let's say, for instance, you want to learn to trade. That is a massive goal. And when we have massive goals and we don't break out those little to-dos out of that goal and start chipping away at those, we've got this big goal. And inside that big goal, imagine it like a big ball, there's going to be subconscious tasks that you don't want to do and you're trying to avoid. So it might be, I'm not very good with spreadsheets, or it could be a tiny thing. It could be a tiny thing. Oh, I don't know, I don't trust brokers, and you've got to deal with that. Or, it could be back testing, right? And that's an overwhelm in itself. So the idea is that you break it all out, the steps you need to do, like the end goal's there, reverse engineer it, break it all out into little actions and to-dos, and then start chipping away at each and every to-do. And even backtesting might be one portion of that. Break out the backtesting and break it down as small as possible. And then all you've got to do is create a habit to commit to ticking off those little to-dos, and it's not daunting anymore. You're making progress, and even if you don't get to the goal when you thought you'd get to the goal, you're definitely going to be much further ahead. And guess what? Those little things that you was trying to avoid, you can do them last, or you can get someone else to do them. You know, delegate that one task. If you're starting a business and you don't want to do the taxes and all the finance, believe it or not, I hate all that. Like, I don't do anything to do in my businesses. I don't do anything to do with finances, tax, you know, staff, HR, all that kind of stuff. I hate it. I don't do it. I wouldn't do it. So delegate it, get rid of it, break it down, find someone else to do it, and then you can chip away, keep going on your mission of getting the overall goal complete. So really, there's the two reasons that you procrastinate. One is you're doing something you don't really want to do. Don't do it. Second reason, if you do find yourself devoting time to development, you probably do want to do it, but you're overwhelmed. And the way you get rid of overwhelm is to break things down, like Akil said, and then build habits in your calendar to chip away at those little to-dos. So if you guys have got any tips in the comments, anything that's overcome your procrastination or your overwhelm, please share with us in the chat. But I think that's a fair analysis of why people experience overwhelm.
Yeah, and it's a killer because it's so depressing. You have this big daunting goals, and that's why I'm exactly like you. Like I always say I'm not a fan of goals, but and I probably reword that. I'm a fan of goals, but I'm more a fan of creating, like you said, small tactics in order to accomplish those goals. Because so many people, and we all have people like that, have this big goal, and then they never work on it, and they never break it down. And then next week they have this new big goal. It's like, well, how are you going to achieve that goal? And they're like, I'm just going to do it. And you never actually do it. Like, you got to break it down. And in breaking down those tasks, man, it gives psychological boost as well. I mean, if you break down your to-do list into like the smallest task, I have dumb stuff like upload live room recording, something that is a normal habit, but I add it to my list because I get to check it off. And every time I check something off, my computer makes a little ding. Amazing. That ding makes me feel good. I want more dings. So I start doing the next thing, and you get this kind of this hit of I'm making progress. And then the cool thing about that is that when you get enough of those hits and you're feeling good, you're more motivated to do those daunting tasks now. Maybe you have something in that list that you don't want to do. And instead of approaching it like, oh man, got to do this. Now it's like, man, I just got 5 things out the way already. All right, I don't like this thing right here. Boom, let's do this 6, and I can get back to the other ones. You kind of have that momentum, and you can steamroll right through it. So I like to hide the tasks that I don't want to do in between the things that I do want to do. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. I'll sneak in the thing that I don't want to do. And I look at it as like, man, I want to do that next thing, but I got to do this one thing first. So let me do this one thing. Let me get it out the way. And then I can get back to doing what I want to do. And that's something that's been massively helpful, kind of sneaking in that bad thing or the thing you don't want to do in between the things that you really enjoy doing.
That's a great idea, because otherwise you end up with all the bad things at the end, and then you never finish the thing, right? So good shout. So a few things that I recommend to help with procrastination. First one is to have a tick list, basically have a way of creating a tick sheet, a to-do sheet, right? And there's a great app called Todoist, a fantastic app called Todoist. Very quick to enter tasks. You can categorize them. You can, you can put them into important, urgent, delegate, not important, not urgent. You can do the whole Eisenhower matrix thing on there, but it's very quick and easy it does what it says on the tin. It's not like all these apps where you have to learn the ins and outs of how to use the app. It's just type a to-do list and just tick away when they're done. And it's amazing. The second thing I would say is, what Akil just said, and that is basically have rewards as well. So like when you're doing these bad tasks that you didn't want to do, have little kind of miniature rewards. So if you hit a certain amount of to-dos, go for a nice meal, or go and have a spa day or something, just to trigger that, right, when I get things done, I get this. And that's a good habit to build as well. And then the last thing I want to recommend is something called the Pomodoro timer. Some of you may or may not have heard of it, but there is an app that you can get on the Mac and PC, and it is Pomodoro timer. The name of the app is Timer RH. And all it is a little app that sits in your desk, in your tray, icon tray, or whatever it is. You click on it, you drag it to the time that you want, and it starts counting down. I've actually got one physical on my desk here, so I can just literally twist this to whatever minutes I want and hit bang, and that will start counting down. And I use this whenever I'm doing something like, I've got to get something done, and I find myself looking on social media, and then I'm like, right, no, bang, hit the thing. I've now got that timer staring at me, or the Pomodoro timer on my desk, and I've got to do it because it makes a horrendous noise when it finishes. It's like, the end of the world, like it's and it's like, oh no. So I have to hit that before it gets to that noise because it's absolutely horrendous. Really good thing. I recommend it. These are on Amazon for about $10, and the Pomodoro timer's free. So go and check that out. I don't know if you got any other hacks that you want to share, Akil.
No, if you're not using that, man, you're slacking. That has been a game changer for me. And the cool thing about it, just the Pomodoro technique in general, is you can build in your distraction. So something I'll do is, I'll set a timer, and you can choose how many tasks you want. Let's say you're going to do 3 tasks of like 25 minutes, right? So you can build in stuff where it's like, hey, I spend 25 minutes on one task, and then I give myself 5 minutes to scroll social media. Then I do another task locked in fully for 25 minutes. And then maybe I take a big break. I give myself 15 minutes to do something else. And the thing about, especially the social media, the distraction thing is that, it doesn't matter. Like, yes, we may need that fixed, but you can decide when you get that fixed. And it's funny, if you just allow yourself to, shamelessly scroll or search, whatever you do on social media, check scores for 5 minutes, right? That urge is fulfilled. And then you no longer need to do it while you're doing work. It's kind of like a diet. Like if you just cut out right away, I'm cutting out all sugar, all carbs, right? Your body's going to reject that, and you're going to kind of go back and find yourself in a food coma, passed out with a sleeve of Oreos, right? But if you slowly kind of give yourself like, hey, I can eat 2 cookies today, right? Yep. Now you fill that need, and then you're no longer have those temptations. So I use it that way, like scheduling breaks, because me personally, I'm really bad at taking breaks. So I will work for like 4 hours straight, and then I'll get burned out, and then I won't want to do the rest of things on my to-do list because I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. So forcing myself to kind of take a 5-minute break is just like a refresher. That's been massive, because I get that little fix of whatever I need to do, and now boom, I'm back to work and I'm no longer distracted. So that was the number one thing I was going to say. It's free. Just get a timer, man.
Yeah. And funnily enough, that's why we started this podcast. It was to do less, to do more, right? It was get away, have a break, have a coffee, get away from the charts, have a little catch up, rant, sense check, just get away and just engage. And then you go back to your trading motivated, switched on, focused, because it's all right to have these little rants. It's all right to have these little, yes, I'm not perfect, I'm human type chats, because that's what it's all about. And that is not what you see on social media, which is why you have fantasies and infatuations with what trading should be like, which is why you procrastinate, which is why you get overwhelmed, which is why you're listening to this and commenting and saying, yeah, I experienced that as well. So really, really good topic. I love this topic. As I say, it's one of the most important in my opinion, because look, we can give you all the strategies in the world, but if you're struggling with procrastination, you need to deal with that first. Otherwise, you're never going to have success in anything. If you procrastinate and you don't know how to combat procrastination or deal with it and dance with it and win, you're not going to, it can give you all the Bitcoin strategies and investment strategies and trading strategies. You're not going to do it, are you? Right? And I think people they can't see that. They think if somehow I had this shiny strategy, I wouldn't have procrastination. But it's really important that you understand where procrastination sits in your psyche, in your approach, and you have to deal with it. You have to really overcome it. So awesome chat. If you guys have got any topics you want us to discuss, also if you'd like to see a guest on this show, maybe we got a little spare space here for someone else. So this little space here, we got a little space here for someone else who could come on and bring on a guest. We'd love to have some guests on this show, whether you're a trader, whether you're, whether you run a prop firm or whatever. Tag the name of who you would love to see on this show for a chat with myself and Akil, and we'll reach out to them and see if we can make that happen. And I think that sums it up nicely. Anything else, Akil?
No, do what you're supposed to do. Don't procrastinate.
Do what you need to do. Don't procrastinate. And guys,
Wise words.
Tune in next week for another Trader Coffee Break. And until then, remember, do less to do more. Take care, and we'll see you then.
Hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember, subscribe to the Trader Coffee Break channel. We go live on Wednesdays, 10 a.m. New York, 3 p.m. UK, talking about the subjects that, well, really you don't hear a lot about over the internet. We do it in a nice laid-back fashion. We have the chat open so you guys can join as well, ask questions, and lend your opinions. YouTube search The Trader Coffee Break with Jason Greystone and myself, Akil Stokes, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.